This beautiful dog is Soda. She's my cavoodle, and today she'll help me demonstrate how to trim your dog's tail into a short carrot shape. Before I get started, to prevent Soda from trying to sit down while I groom her tail, I'm going to use the belly sling. I'll clip this to the top of my grooming table, and then I'll gently put it underneath her belly. I'll clip it together, and then I'll adjust the straps. Now we're ready to get started. First, I'll brush all the knots out of her tail using my slicker brush. I like to hold the dog's tailbone and then brush the fur away from the bone. This way you're protecting the tailbone from accidentally getting scratched by the wire bristles on the slicker brush, and it'll prevent the fur from pulling, which can be quite painful for your dog. I'll brush one side and then I'll brush the other side of the tail, ensuring I brush through all the different layers of fur. Once you think you've gotten all the knots out, comb through the fur and check for any tangles. If the comb gets stuck like this, it means you haven't gotten all the knots out, so give it another brush with the slicker brush and then check again with the comb. If you come across a knot you can't brush out, I like to use a dematting comb. This one here has 11 serrated blades that easily cut through knots and mats. Simply hold the tailbone and rake through the knots. And once you think you've removed them all, use the slicker brush to brush through the fur. Next, I like to use my clippers to remove the bulk of the fur. I'm going to use a number 4 attachment comb on my Heineken clippers, which I also use to groom the rest of Soda's body, so using the same length comb on her tail will ensure her fur is the same length all over. The 4 comb trims the fur to the length of 13 centimeters or half an inch, but if you want a longer length tail, just use a longer length comb. I like to trim Soda's tail quite short because it tends to mat easily, and for some reason more things tend to get stuck in her tail than poppies, like leaves, twigs and burrs which she brings into the house. It's not for everyone, which is fine, but give it a go if you like, and if you don't like it, don't worry, it'll grow back quickly. When using the clippers, I gently hold the tailbone and run the clippers down the top of the tail, and then down the sides of the tail, and then also underneath, just until it looks even. Next, I'll use my slicker brush to brush out the fur again. And once that's done, I'll use my straight scissors and I'll trim all around the tail to even out the length of the fur. Now I'll brush up the fur along the top of the tail and trim it with my straight scissors. Here's an overhead shot so you can get a close-up look at what I'm doing. I brush the fur out from the tailbone to both sides of the tail, and then I get my straight scissors and I just trim the fur until it's even. And I basically just keep doing this process. First I brush the fur out from the tailbone to both sides of the tail and I'll trim it. And then I'll repeat the process on the top of the tail. I'll brush the fur up along the top of the tail, and then using my scissors I'll give it a trim. And then I'll repeat that below the tail as well. So I'll brush the fur below the tail, underneath the tail, and continue trimming it. And I basically repeat this process until it looks nice and even. There we go, this looks pretty good to me. It's nice and even and it resembles a carrot shape. I hope you enjoyed this video and you've picked up a few tips on how to trim your dog's tail at home. Thanks for watching.